Long ago, before the maps of the world were drawn and before the cities of men rose to scrape the sky, there was a quiet green plant that grew beside rivers, in soft valleys, and upon the gentle slopes of mountains. In the earliest days of human life, people walked among the grasses and shrubs of the earth, noticing patterns, textures, and gifts hidden in the soil. Among these discoveries was a plant with serrated leaves, delicate flowers, and tiny seeds that, when pressed or ground, provided sustenance, strength, and healing. In the soft dawn, farmers and villagers would bend to the earth, their fingers brushing through the cool soil, planting the seeds with care, whispering gentle words as though the plant could hear and understand. Each stalk grew slowly, patiently reaching toward the sun, bending only slightly to the passing wind, a silent witness to the lives of those who tended it. In the fertile valleys of the Yellow River, families planted these seeds in rows, their hands rough with labor, their hearts accustomed to the rhythm of planting, tending, and harvest. The stalks rose tall and strong, their fibers woven into ropes, mats, and clothing that sheltered the people from the chill of winter and the blazing heat of summer. The seeds were pressed into oils and meals, small, nourishing gifts that supported life in times of scarcity. And the leaves, often dried or crushed, were used with careful attention in healing mixtures, calming fever, soothing aches, and easing the weariness that settled into bones after a day of work under the sun. In this world, every gesture with the plant was intentional, measured, and patient, and the plant responded in kind, offering its gifts without haste or demand. Across the high mountains and deserts of Central Asia, nomadic peoples discovered the plant along the trade routes that connected distant valleys and plains. They learned to burn its flowers to produce fragrant smoke during rituals and gatherings, allowing the aroma to curl upward into the evening air, mingling with the scent of incense, dried herbs, and the campfires of wandering tribes. Its presence in these gatherings was subtle yet significant, offering a gentle calm, a shared quiet, a moment of reflection as the stars appeared one by one in the darkening sky. The plant was not seen as a spectacle. It was a companion, patient and enduring, a quiet thread woven through the lives of travelers and villagers alike. In India, where rivers glittered under the rising sun and temples rose from the earth like gentle whispers of devotion, the plant became entwined with spiritual practice. Priests and yogis prepared it carefully, mixing leaves with milk and honey, crafting pastes and oils that were used during festivals, meditation, and prayer. The smoke of its flowers rose into temple ceilings, curling around statues, pillars, and the faces of worshippers who inhaled it with calm reverence. It brought a gentle focus, quieting the mind without forcing it, encouraging reflection, patience, and introspection. The plant became part of the rhythm of life, appearing in sacred texts, folklore, and daily routines, each use honoring its enduring presence. As the Silk Road began to take shape, connecting valleys and deserts from the east to the west, the plant traveled silently alongside merchants, travelers, and pilgrims. Bundles of seeds, dried leaves, and carefully processed fibers were carried across mountains, rivers, and sandy plains. The trade routes were alive with movement. Camels stepped carefully over rocky passes, horses trotted along dusty paths, and small caravans rested under starlit skies. At each stop, bustling bazaars, quiet oases, and small villages, the plant adapted to new soils and climates. Its uses were observed and recorded, as medicine for the weary, as rope for the traveling caravans, and as a calm companion for those whose lives were long and arduous. In China, scholars and early physicians began to write about the plant's properties in delicate script on silk scrolls. They described its ability to heal, to soothe, to sustain life in small yet profound ways. They noted how the seeds could be ground into meals. The leaves could ease discomfort, and the fibers could be woven into cloth strong enough to endure storms. These writings traveled with merchants, carried into distant lands, and whispered from one generation to the next, building a quiet legacy that would survive for millennia. Even in moments of stillness, the plant revealed its quiet power. When night fell over the villages of the valleys and the mountains, when the wind carried the smell of earth and rain, the green stalks swayed gently. They absorbed the moonlight, reflected the stars, and held within themselves the memory of the day's labor and care. People resting nearby felt the subtle presence of the plant, a calm, a reassurance, a connection to the slow, enduring rhythm of the earth. It did not hurry. It did not demand attention. It simply existed, offering its gifts to those who respected its patience. The plant's journey continued as human civilization expanded. Across the deserts of Persia and into the lands of Mesopotamia, its fibers were used to make ropes for tents and sails. Its seeds and oils nourished travelers, and its leaves were incorporated into medicine for fevers, digestive complaints, and pains of the body and mind. In temples and gardens alike, it remained a quiet companion present in the background, observing the movements of humanity without judgment, offering calm and healing with the same gentle constancy it had shown in China and India. As trade continued, the plant found its way into Europe. In Greece and Rome, physicians studied its medicinal uses, while sailors and artisans relied on its fibers for ropes, sails, and everyday necessities. Philosophers noted its effects on the mind, apothecaries used it to ease ailments, and ordinary people relied on its subtle, sustaining presence. Even as empires rose and fell, the plant remained patient, weaving itself into the rhythms of life, quietly connecting people across lands, generations, and cultures. Throughout all these centuries, the plant maintained its calm essence. It did not need recognition. It did not complain when it was overlooked. It simply grew, adapting to climates, cultures, and human hands, always present, always offering relief and comfort. Its journey was measured not in dramatic events, but in the slow, steady unfolding of daily life. A stalk swaying in the breeze, seeds crushed into nourishing meals, leaves steeped in water for healing, and smoke rising in quiet ritual. As you drift now into sleep, imagine these ancient fields stretching under soft sunlight, the gentle rustle of leaves in the wind, the careful hands of farmers and healers tending the plant, and the quiet patience that has carried it through millennia. Across mountains, rivers, deserts, and valleys, through temples, homes, and gardens, this plant has witnessed humanity's journey, silent, enduring, and calm. It waits, as it always has, to offer its subtle wisdom, gentle comfort, and quiet presence to those who notice, reminding us that patience, healing, and calm are gifts that endure across time. As the winds of the steppes whispered across the vast plains of Central Asia, the quiet green plant traveled with the movements of nomadic peoples. It grew alongside the paths they trod with their herds, bending slightly beneath the step of camels and the weight of wool-laden horses. In the early morning, when mist still lingered over the grasslands and dew clung to the leaves, women and men would gather the tender stalks and seeds, not hurriedly, but with care and attention born of generations. The plant provided fiber for tents that sheltered families from storms, rope that tethered animals, and seeds that were pressed into oils to sustain them through long journeys across endless horizons. In moments of rest, the smoke of its flowers rose gently from small fires, curling into the dawn like whispers, and those who inhaled it felt a subtle calm seep into their minds and bodies, easing the weariness of travel and the tension of the day. As trade routes expanded, the plant moved quietly into Persia, where civilizations were rich with gardens, scholars, and bustling markets. In the early cities along rivers, people planted it in carefully tended plots, weaving its fibers into textiles and pressing seeds for food and oil. Scholars and physicians studied its properties, noting how it could relieve aches and pains, soothe fevers, and calm troubled minds. The plant was integrated into both everyday life and ritual practice, appearing in quiet corners of homes, in courtyards where elders discussed philosophy, and in temples where incense and prayer mingled with its gentle aroma. Here, cannabis was both a practical gift of the earth and a subtle companion to reflection, teaching humanity the patience to observe and care. In the lands of the Middle East, it became a familiar presence in the lives of traders and healers. Markets hummed with the quiet rhythm of commerce, merchants calling softly, spices mingling with the scent of fresh bread, and bundles of dried leaves and seeds laid carefully among the goods. Physicians prepared tinctures and oils, while artisans used the fibers to create strong ropes and woven materials. During long desert nights, travelers would sit beneath stars, smoking the fragrant flowers, feeling the gentle warmth spread through their bodies, carrying them into a calm and reflective state. The plant's presence was unobtrusive but constant, a quiet teacher in the art of patience and endurance, reminding people that not all gifts announce themselves loudly. Some exist to sustain and soothe silently. As the Mediterranean civilizations grew, the plant's journey continued to the shores of Greece and the cities of Rome. Here, it found a place both practical and philosophical. Sailors relied on hemp ropes and sails to navigate the waters that connected distant lands, while physicians experimented with its effects on the human body. Scholars documented its properties, noting its ability to ease pain, calm nerves, and support digestion. In the gardens of philosophers and the homes of ordinary citizens, leaves were brewed into teas and ointments, seeds were pressed into oils, and the fibers were woven into cloth. Even amidst the bustling marketplaces and the grandeur of temples, the plant moved quietly, offering comfort without demanding attention. In Athens, students and thinkers observed its effects on concentration and calm, sometimes incorporating its use into small gatherings of study and reflection. In Rome, soldiers carried its fibers and seeds with them on long campaigns, using them to maintain health and ease fatigue. Through empires rising and falling, through trade and conquest, the plant endured, its rhythm unchanging, its gifts steady. Each generation learned anew how to respect its patience, how to prepare its seeds and leaves, and how to allow it to soothe without forcing or demanding. Even in moments of conflict and change, cannabis remained a quiet witness. While empires expanded, temples were built, and cities grew in stone and marble, the plant continued to grow alongside the people. Its presence in gardens, markets, homes, and ships offered a reminder of constancy. A patient friend who had traveled centuries to provide calm, healing, and sustenance. The fibers that held sails, the oils that nourished bodies, and the smoke that eased minds all spoke of the plant's enduring role in human life, a subtle thread connecting cultures, geographies, and generations. As night fell over these ancient civilizations, the soft rustle of leaves and warm breezes reminded all who rested nearby of the gentle rhythms of life. The plant had traveled countless miles, observed countless stories, and offered countless acts of quiet care. Its journey across Central Asia, Persia, the Middle East, and the Mediterranean was not marked by dramatic spectacle, but by enduring patience and subtle service. It was a witness to humanity, teaching without words, offering calm without force, and reminding all who encountered it that the most profound gifts are often those that wait quietly, persistently, and without demand. And so, as the moon rose over river valleys and desert sands, over city rooftops and tranquil gardens, The green plant swayed gently in the night, a silent companion to the people who lived, worked, and dreamed beneath the stars. Its presence, steady and enduring, carried the memory of centuries, of farmers, travelers, scholars, healers, and ordinary people who had relied upon it for strength, comfort, and reflection. In every sway of its leaves, in every drop of its oil, in every fiber woven into cloth or rope, it whispered the patient wisdom of history, a calm reminder that life, like the plant, endures quietly and gracefully across the passage of time. As the centuries turned, the quiet green plant moved gently into the fields, gardens, and monasteries of medieval Europe. In the soft light of early morning, dew clinging to the tips of its leaves, monks in stone-clad abbeys tended carefully to their crops. They knelt in the soil with patient hands, planting seeds row by row, whispering silent prayers of gratitude for the gifts of the earth. The stalks grew tall, swaying softly in the wind, and the monks harvested them slowly, using the fibers to weave clothing, ropes, and sails for the ships that would later cross seas far beyond their lands. The seeds were pressed into nourishing oils, and leaves were used in gentle tinctures to ease aches, soothe fevers, and calm troubled minds. The plant, ever patient, responded to this quiet care with the same constancy it had shown in Asia and the Middle East, offering its gifts without complaint or demand. In village gardens and market squares, ordinary people worked alongside the plant, weaving its fibers into mats, ropes, and garments, pressing seeds into food, and preparing leaves for medicinal purposes. Apothecaries stocked jars and bottles filled with crushed leaves, oils, and tinctures, carefully labeled with handwritten notes. They recommended it for digestive discomfort, headaches, and sleeplessness, noting that its effects were gentle and calming, never harsh or forceful. The plant moved quietly through the rhythms of daily life, supporting laborers, healers, and children alike, teaching through example the virtue of patience and subtlety. Trade routes carried hemp fibers and seeds across kingdoms, from the rolling hills of England to the bustling towns of France and the sun-drenched ports of Italy. Caravans transported bales of fiber, while sailors wove ropes and sails from the same material that had sustained travelers and traders for centuries. In homes and workshops, it was an ordinary, indispensable companion, a thread connecting lives, economies, and cultures. Its presence was not loud or dramatic, but constant, dependable, and quietly sustaining. Monasteries, in particular, became centers of knowledge and preservation for the plant. Monks studied its uses in medicine, documenting the effects of leaves and resin, and preserving this knowledge in carefully scribed manuscripts. They experimented with oils, ointments, and pastes, finding subtle ways to relieve pain, calm agitation, and aid sleep. At night, in the stillness of candle-lit libraries and quiet gardens, the plant swayed in the moonlight, a calm companion to those who sought wisdom and healing. In times of hardship, when winters were long and food scarce, the plant offered sustenance and utility. Seeds were ground into meals to supplement diets. Fibers were woven into clothing to protect against cold. Leaves and oils were used to ease the discomfort of the sick. It quietly reminded people that survival was not only about struggle, but also about care, observation, and patience. It taught humanity to move slowly, to attend to the details of daily life, and to honor the gifts of the earth without haste. Even as kingdoms rose and fell, castles were built and abandoned, and cities expanded across the landscape, cannabis remained a patient observer. It grew in fields, gardens, and hedgerows, its roots anchoring it through centuries of change. Travelers passed through carrying knowledge and seeds to new lands. Apothecaries adapted recipes and remedies. Families relied on its calming effects in quiet moments. Its influence was subtle yet pervasive, touching countless lives without fanfare, offering relief and calm with unchanging generosity. The plant also found its way into the quiet corners of everyday life, in the homes of farmers and weavers, in the workshops of artisans, and in the small gardens of villages. Its fibers were spun into ropes and cloth for clothing and sails. Its seeds fed families during lean seasons. Its leaves were infused into oils and tinctures for healing. It moved slowly through the rhythms of life, always patient, always present. A gentle companion that reminded people of continuity, calm, and care. As night fell over medieval Europe, the fields of hemp swayed softly beneath the moonlight. The scent of earth, damp leaves and flowers mingled with the crisp night air, creating a calm that seeped into the bones of those who rested nearby. The plant had traveled thousands of miles over centuries, from Asia to the Middle East to Europe, silently observing humanity, offering calm and relief, and teaching the quiet virtues of patience and endurance. In its gentle presence, people rested, healed, and dreamed, knowing that some gifts of the earth endure not through spectacle or drama, but through constancy, subtlety, and quiet care. Through abbeys, villages, markets, and workshops, cannabis continued its patient journey, connecting the lives of generations with threads of fiber, drops of oil, and leaves that eased discomfort. It witnessed the slow turning of seasons, the rhythm of planting and harvest, the passing of centuries, and the quiet unfolding of daily life. And as the moon cast silver light over fields and gardens, the plant swayed gently, a timeless companion reminding all who paused to notice that calm, healing, and patience endure across generations, continents, and centuries. Across the vast Atlantic Ocean, the quiet green plant traveled on the decks of wooden ships, swaying gently in woven sacks as sailors navigated endless waves under the wide open sky. From Europe to the Americas, it journeyed as both cargo and companion, carried carefully alongside spices, grains, and other necessities. The sailors knew its value. The fibers could be woven into strong ropes and sails to withstand storms. The seeds pressed into oil provided nourishment during long voyages, and the leaves could be used in small doses to calm and restore weary minds. Beneath the flickering lanterns on deck, with the ocean wind salty against their faces, the plant rested patiently, untouched by the chaos of the seas, offering its quiet presence to those who needed sustenance, calm, and continuity. When the ships reached the New World, the plant was introduced to vast stretches of fertile soil, rivers and valleys that would one day teem with villages and farms. Colonists planted hemp fields alongside corn and wheat, learning to care for the stalks, harvest the seeds, and process fibers into ropes, clothing, and sails. In homes, kitchens, and workshops, seeds were ground into oils or meals, and leaves were carefully prepared to soothe fevers, ease cramps, and calm nervousness. The plant quickly became indispensable, quietly threading its presence through the rhythm of daily life, teaching patience and constancy without requiring attention or praise. In the early colonies, hemp was even considered vital for survival. Farmers grew it for essential materials. Ships relied on its fibers for sails and rigging. Families relied on its seeds and oils for nutrition. Apothecaries stocked tinctures made from leaves and resin, prescribing them for pain, digestive troubles, and sleeplessness. Despite the hard labor of settlement and the uncertainty of new lands, the plant offered a gentle, dependable comfort, reminding the settlers that even in a strange and often unforgiving environment, there were constants that endured. Alongside these practical uses, the plant quietly accompanied the rhythms of daily life and the passage of time. Children played under the shade of hemp stalks, women wove its fibers into clothing, and men worked in fields or along riverbanks, all while the green stalks swayed gently in the wind. It was a calm presence, not demanding attention, but offering stability, nourishment, and relief. Even as storms battered wooden homes or harsh winters arrived, the plant remained steadfast, a reminder of continuity, patience, and the quiet blessings of nature. In the port cities, merchants and sailors traded hemp and seeds with careful precision. It was measured, packed, and moved with intention, ensuring that it reached communities that needed both its fibers and its medicinal uses. In homes and apothecaries, leaves were brewed into gentle teas, oils were added to meals, and tinctures were administered slowly to those who suffered from fevers, aches, or sleepless nights. Through all this, the plant retained its calm, patient character, never rushing, never forcing, simply offering its quiet gifts to those who treated it with care. Even in moments of hardship, such as illness, scarcity, or long nights of labor, cannabis provided subtle comfort. Its presence was never loud or dramatic. Instead, it offered stability and reassurance, a steady companion through the slow, measured rhythms of life. Sailors, farmers, and families alike relied on it, feeling the quiet ease it brought to body and mind. In every field, every kitchen, every small apothecary, it left a trace of calm, a gentle reminder that some gifts endure not through spectacle but through patience, subtlety, and quiet care. As night fell over the settlements of the New World, the moonlight glinted softly on green leaves swaying in gentle night breezes. The plant, having traveled centuries and continents, rested alongside the people who relied on it. A patient companion who had seen the rise and fall of civilizations, the ebb and flow of trade, and the quiet unfolding of daily life. It carried with it the memory of distant lands, previous centuries, and long-forgotten gardens, weaving all these experiences into its calm presence. Beneath the starlit sky, settlers, travelers, and children slept peacefully, the gentle rhythm of the plant's life mirrored in their own steady breathing, a reminder that continuity, patience, and calm endure even in the face of uncertainty. The green stalks of hemp and cannabis continued to grow, harvest after harvest, season after season, linking Europe and the Americas, linking sailors, farmers, and families in an invisible thread of calm, sustenance, and quiet wisdom. It moved through the centuries without haste, observing the passage of time, supporting human life, and offering gentle relief wherever it could. Its presence in the New World, as it had been across the continents before, was a patient witness to the unfolding of human history, a quiet companion that taught through endurance and subtle generosity, rather than loud proclamation. And so, as settlers rested after long days of labor, as sailors dreamed of distant ports, and as children lay quietly under the stars, the plant swayed gently in the wind, a reminder of centuries past and a promise of continued calm, healing, and patient companionship through the slow and measured march of time. Its journey across oceans, lands, and generations remained unbroken, a green thread connecting hearts and hands, fields and homes, dreams and reality, carrying with it the patient wisdom of 1,000 years. As the 1800s unfolded across Europe and the Americas, the quiet green plant had found itself woven deeply into daily life. Yet now it entered a world of curiosity, observation, and careful study. In the warm, lamp-lit corners of Victorian apothecaries, pharmacists and physicians handled its leaves, oils, and resins with meticulous attention. They weighed, ground, and dissolved, documenting the subtle effects it had on the human body. A few drops of tincture could ease a woman's migraine after a long day of labor, calm a child's restless nights, or soothe a weary traveler who had crossed mountains and rivers to reach the safety of home. The plant, patient as ever, offered its gifts gently, allowing humans to explore its potential with care, never rushing, never demanding. In these same streets and alleyways, scholars, poets, and writers began experimenting with the plant's influence on the mind. Gentle smoke curls and quiet studies inspired thoughtful reflection, creative insights, and the slow unfolding of imagination. Its effects were subtle yet profound, whispering calm into the restless minds of those who approached it thoughtfully. Writers noted the dreamlike quality it bestowed, a soft haze through which one could explore memory, sensation, and the delicate beauty of the world around them. In the quiet libraries, candlelight flickering across vellum and ink, the plant's presence remained unobtrusive, Yet its influence moved subtly through art, literature, and thought. Across countryside estates and small towns, farmers continued to grow hemp and cannabis for practical purposes, careful to tend the fields with patient hands. The stalks were woven into rope, sails, and fabrics. The seeds pressed into oils for cooking and nutrition. The leaves used in gentle remedies for aches, fevers, and sleeplessness. In homes, people carried on traditions that had existed for millennia, trusting the plant's enduring calm to sustain body and mind. It was an ordinary companion, yet one that had traveled across continents and centuries, quietly teaching patience, persistence, and subtle care. Medical journals began publishing observations, detailing the plant's effects in precise terms. Physicians noted its ability to reduce pain, ease nausea, and calm nervous tension. Families relied upon its oils, tinctures, and preparations, often combining centuries-old knowledge with newly emerging scientific insight. The plant's influence was not dramatic or loud. It moved softly through lives as steady as the passing seasons. And in this measured, careful study, humans began to realize that the calm, patient green plant had secrets to teach, secrets that had been understood intuitively for thousands of years, but now were being measured, documented, and respected in new ways. Even in the midst of social change, industrialization, and the expansion of cities, the plant retained its quiet, enduring presence. Its fibers supported construction and trade, its seeds nourished growing populations, and its leaves offered gentle relief to the sick and weary. In quiet cottages, candlelit studies, and bustling apothecaries, the plant offered calm, reflection, and comfort, linking the lives of people across towns, countries, and continents. Its patient endurance reminded humanity that the passage of time did not diminish its gifts, nor did the complexities of modern life disturb its serene purpose. In literature and culture, the plant's presence was noted subtly, inspiring introspection, philosophical musing, and the appreciation of small details in life. Poets described the calm it brought, writers acknowledged its gentle influence on thought, and ordinary people relied on it in quiet ways for relief and calm. Through careful observation and experimentation, humans began to connect centuries of traditional use with new, modern understandings. The green companion of millennia had not changed. Only the human appreciation of its wisdom deepened. As evening descended over Victorian streets, over fields and gardens, over small towns and bustling cities, the green leaves of cannabis swayed gently in the night breeze. The air was filled with the scent of earth, flowers, and crushed leaves, mingling with the faint aroma of oil lamps and cooking fires. Families rested, scholars pondered, and travelers slept, each unknowingly connected by the patient presence of the plant. It had traveled through centuries, continents, and cultures to be here, offering calm, comfort, and healing in the softest way possible. Its rhythm was unchanging, slow, patient, and enduring, teaching all who encountered it the value of subtlety, care, and continuity. Even in this era of science and observation, the plant moved quietly through the world, linking the past to the present. Its fibers supported commerce and exploration. Its seeds nourished bodies, its leaves and oils soothed minds. Every person who rested beneath its calm influence was unknowingly part of a centuries-long story. A story that began in distant valleys of China and India, traveled through Persia and the Mediterranean, crossed oceans and arrived in homes, apothecaries, and quiet studies in Europe and the Americas. And through all this, the plant remained patient, constant, and gentle, a green thread connecting lives across the sweep of human history. As night deepened, candlelight flickering across parchment and wooden tables, the plant swayed softly in gardens, fields, and small windowsills. Its presence was a lullaby of continuity and calm, a reminder that some gifts endure not through grandeur or spectacle, but through patient, quiet generosity. And so, As families rested and the world outside settled into the slow rhythm of sleep, the green plant continued its timeless journey, offering comfort, calm, and gentle wisdom to all who would pause to notice its enduring presence. As the 20th century began, the quiet green plant had traveled countless miles, centuries, and civilizations, yet now it entered a world of sudden scrutiny and shifting perception. In cities and towns across the globe, whispers began to rise about its use, and governments slowly moved to regulate, restrict, or even forbid its cultivation and consumption. Despite this, the plant continued its calm, patient presence, unnoticed by many, yet quietly offering its gifts to those who remembered its ancient wisdom. In the shadows of apothecaries and homes, in the quiet corners of small gardens, it continued to be tended, harvested, and used for relief, comfort, and subtle healing. In homes where traditional remedies persisted, leaves were brewed into teas, oils were applied gently to soothe aches, and tinctures were administered slowly to calm nervous tension or sleepless nights. Families and small communities relied on these practices quietly, knowing that the green plant had been a companion through generations. Its influence remained gentle, never demanding attention, moving softly through the rhythms of life, teaching calm, patience, and endurance. Even as new laws and social pressures sought to limit its use, the plant's quiet persistence endured. Among artists, musicians, and writers, the plant took on another subtle role. In smoky rooms under the flickering glow of lanterns, its gentle presence inspired reflection, creativity, and the slow unfolding of ideas. Musicians found that its influence allowed the mind to drift through melody and rhythm with ease. Writers discovered that thoughts moved in gentle waves rather than rushing currents. Painters and poets explored color, form, and emotion with quiet clarity. The plant, as always, did not force inspiration, but simply offered calm and presence, a companion to thought and imagination. Across rural fields and hidden gardens, hemp and cannabis were still cultivated, often discreetly yet with careful attention. Farmers remembered the practical uses that had carried the plant through centuries: fibers for ropes and textiles, seeds for nourishment, and leaves for remedies. Its slow, patient growth mirrored the measured rhythm of human labor and life, offering comfort in continuity and calm in an era of social upheaval. Even when laws forbade its widespread use, the plant remained a quiet witness to human endurance, a reminder that some gifts of the earth cannot be erased by decree or fear. In communities where knowledge persisted, apothecaries and healers continued to recommend it for relief of pain, digestive discomfort, and nervous tension. Mothers used gentle teas to calm restless children. Elders found its oils eased the stiffness of age. Travelers carried seeds for nourishment and leaves for small comforts on long journeys. The plant's gifts were subtle, not dramatic, yet deeply rooted in the rhythm of life. Its calm presence offered stability in a rapidly changing world, and its patient endurance became a quiet lesson for those who observed it closely. Even in cities where prohibition created fear and secrecy, the plant found ways to persist. Hidden gardens, quiet studies, and whispered knowledge kept the traditions alive. Its influence continued in small, intimate moments, a gentle calm in the midst of worry, a quiet relief for those who ached, a soothing presence that encouraged rest and reflection. Across homes, streets, and neighborhoods, it remained a subtle companion, bridging centuries of human experience, quietly teaching patience, resilience, and calm. As night fell over the early 20th century, over cobblestone streets, sprawling fields, and hidden gardens, the plant swayed gently beneath the moonlight. Its leaves rustled softly in the breeze, mingling with the faint scent of earth, rain, and distant fires. Families, travelers, artists, and scholars rested beneath its quiet presence. Connected through centuries of human care and attention, the plant had moved across continents, Through empires and civilizations, and now, even in the face of regulation and scrutiny, it continued to offer its subtle gifts of calm, patience, and gentle healing. In quiet moments, it reminded all who approached it that the passage of time did not diminish its wisdom or its presence. The calm, enduring green stalks had witnessed centuries of labor, celebration, reflection, and care. They had traveled across rivers, deserts, mountains, and oceans. They had touched the hands of farmers, healers, artists, and ordinary people, offering relief, calm, and continuity. And as the world outside settled into the rhythm of night, the plant swayed softly, a patient companion, whispering gently of endurance, subtlety, and the quiet beauty of time passing slowly. As the decades of the mid-20th century unfolded, the quiet green plant, having traveled across continents and centuries, found itself at the center of whispers, gatherings, and gentle curiosity. In cities, towns, and quiet corners of the world, it was rediscovered by a new generation who sought calm, reflection, and subtle inspiration in the midst of rapid change. College campuses, artist studios, and music halls became spaces where its presence was noted, not with grand announcements, but with gentle respect and quiet observation. Its leaves, resins, and seeds were used with care, offering calm to minds full of dreams, hope, and the restless energy of youth. Travelers returning from distant lands brought stories of traditional uses from Asia, Africa, and South America. They spoke of calm rituals, healing remedies, and the patience with which generations had cultivated the plant. This knowledge mingled with modern curiosity, inspiring communities to experiment with tinctures, teas, and small ritualized use. Artists found that it gently expanded perception without force. Writers discovered a softening of thought, an ease in letting stories flow. Musicians noticed a subtle rhythm in their creativity that mirrored the gentle sway of leaves in the wind. The plant, as always, remained patient, guiding without pushing, calming without demanding. Across countries and continents, laws and social norms shifted uneasily. In some places, use was restricted, hidden, or vilified. In others, the plant was quietly embraced in circles of curiosity, research, and art. Despite the uncertainty of social perception, it continued to grow in gardens, small fields, and urban spaces. Families, travelers, and healers maintained their traditions, observing with careful hands and gentle hearts the gifts it had offered for centuries. In the midst of cultural upheaval, it remained a constant, a green thread connecting past, present, and future through calm and subtle healing. Medical research in this era began to examine the plant with new rigor. Scientists isolated compounds such as THC and CBD, noting their effects on the human body with increasing precision. Patients discovered that it eased nausea, calmed chronic pain, and soothed the tension of anxiety. Physicians, once skeptical, began to acknowledge the subtle power of the plant, connecting centuries-old wisdom with modern science. Its role as a healer, quiet and patient, had endured even as human understanding evolved. And as researchers studied it carefully, the plant responded as it always had, steadily, quietly, generously, offering its gifts to those who approached with attention and respect. Throughout the counterculture movement of the 1960s and 1970s, the plant became a companion to those seeking freedom, reflection, and connection. Its presence was gentle, never demanding, encouraging patience, contemplation, and creative expression. Music festivals, art collectives, and gatherings of thinkers all experienced its subtle influence. Minds calmed, thoughts wandered slowly, and people felt a shared connection through the quiet rhythm of the plant. Even as legal battles, social stigma, and political pressures emerged, it continued to endure, swaying gently in hidden gardens, quiet homes, and the minds of those who appreciated its enduring calm. The plant also traveled with modern explorers and researchers, crossing continents to study its historical and contemporary uses. In South America, Asia, and Africa, traditional practices were observed and documented. Seeds pressed into oils, leaves used in ceremonial teas, fibers woven into cloth, and smoke used in ritualized gatherings. Knowledge passed from generation to generation was recognized anew, and the patient wisdom of countless cultures became part of a slowly expanding global understanding. The green stalk, once unknown to many, had become a bridge across space and time, connecting humanity through its enduring presence. By the late 20th century, small movements toward legalization and medical recognition began to appear. Researchers and physicians documented the plant's therapeutic benefits. Advocates highlighted its long history of safe use, and communities shared knowledge of its gentle, calming effects. While debates, laws, and regulations varied widely, the plant's patient presence continued, swaying in fields, gardens, and quiet rooms, reminding all who encountered it of continuity, healing, and calm. Its journey from ancient valleys to modern laboratories was a testament to resilience, subtlety, and the enduring rhythm of life itself. As night fell across the world, over bustling cities, quiet towns, remote villages, and expansive fields, the plant swayed gently beneath the moon and stars. Its leaves whispered softly in the wind, carrying centuries of observation, care, and patient generosity. Families, travelers, scholars, and artists rested, connected unknowingly by the calm presence of a companion that had traversed millennia. From distant mountains to sprawling continents, through wars and peace, through exploration and discovery, the plant endured. It offered calm, comfort, and healing in the slowest, most patient way possible, teaching humanity that some gifts endure not through grandeur or spectacle, but through gentle, unwavering presence. And so, as the world drifted into sleep beneath the starlit sky, the green plant continued its timeless journey, linking cultures, generations, and continents. It reminded all who paused to notice that calm, patience, and quiet care are treasures that transcend time. Its journey was far from over, for humanity was still learning to observe, understand, and honor the subtle wisdom it carried. Through every sway of its leaves, every seed pressed, every tincture prepared, it continued to offer the same patient companionship it had offered for thousands of years. A gentle lullaby of endurance, calm, and subtle healing carried across the tapestry of history. As the 21st century unfolded, the quiet green plant found itself at the heart of renewed attention, rediscovery, and respect. After centuries of patient endurance, it emerged once more into the awareness of humanity, this time not only as a companion for calm and subtle healing, but as a subject of rigorous scientific study. Laboratories across the world examined its chemical compounds, uncovering the delicate interplay of cannabinoids, terpenes, and the human body's own endocannabinoid system. Researchers marveled at its ability to soothe pain, calm anxiety, reduce inflammation, and restore balance, confirming with modern evidence what generations of healers, farmers, and caregivers had known intuitively for millennia. In cities, towns, and quiet neighborhoods, people began to access cannabis legally for medical purposes. Patients discovered relief from chronic pain, nausea, insomnia, and neurological conditions, often using oils, tinctures, teas, or gentle inhalation. Physicians, once skeptical or cautious, gradually incorporated it into their understanding of human health, recognizing that the plant's patient, gentle influence could complement traditional medicine. Even as debates over laws and regulation continued, its calm, enduring presence reminded humanity that some gifts of the earth cannot be rushed or forced. They reveal themselves slowly, carefully, and with subtle generosity. Global movements toward legalization and normalization emerged, with communities, governments, and advocates working to recognize its long history and therapeutic value. In countries across continents, the plant was cultivated with care, studied meticulously, and incorporated into medical, recreational, and industrial practices. Hemp fields stretched under the sun once again, fibers woven into textiles, seeds pressed into nourishing oils, and leaves and resins prepared with attention and respect. Its uses remained diverse yet consistent, carrying forward centuries of patient wisdom. Even in contemporary culture, the plant continued to inspire creativity, reflection, and calm. Artists, musicians, writers, and thinkers found that it offered a gentle companion to thought and imagination, allowing ideas to unfold slowly and subtly. In quiet homes, small gardens, and urban green spaces, it offered the same reassurance it had for millennia, that calm, healing, and patience endure, even in a fast-paced modern world. Its sway in the breeze, the soft rustle of leaves, and the subtle aroma of its flowers were reminders that life's slow, quiet rhythms remain, even amidst complexity and change. Medical research expanded into new frontiers, exploring cannabinoids' potential for neurological disorders, pain management, mental health, and overall wellness. The plant's presence in hospitals, clinics, and homes was not sudden or dramatic. It was steady, methodical, and patient, offering relief where conventional treatments had limitations. Scientists acknowledged that the calm, gentle influence of the plant was not merely anecdotal, but rooted in millennia of human experience and observation. Its wisdom, once recorded only in scrolls and oral traditions, now blended seamlessly with modern understanding, bridging ancient and contemporary knowledge. Across the globe, cannabis became a symbol of continuity and connection, from small villages to sprawling metropolises, from fields of hemp to research laboratories. Its presence quietly threaded together human experience. Families, patients, researchers, and communities shared in its subtle gifts: nourishment, calm, reflection, and healing. The plant reminded humanity that the passage of time does not diminish value, and that patient, enduring companions often have the most profound influence. Its journey, stretching from ancient valleys of China and India, across Persia, the Mediterranean, Europe, and the Americas, continued into the modern era with the same quiet generosity. As night fell over the modern world, over bustling cities, suburban streets, quiet gardens, and farmlands, the plant swayed gently beneath the moon and stars. Its leaves whispered softly in the breeze, mingling with scents of earth, flowers, and distant rain. Patients rested, scientists observed, artists dreamed, and families slept, all connected through the patient, enduring presence of a plant that had traveled millennia. Its journey was not marked by spectacle or loud acclaim, but by constant, quiet care and subtle influence that endured across time, culture, and geography. And so, as humanity continues to learn, explore, and understand, the plant remains a steadfast companion. Its calm, patient essence teaches that true gifts endure slowly, subtly, and generously. Across thousands of years, it has been a healer, a companion, a source of comfort and inspiration. From ancient rivers to modern cities, from sacred rituals to scientific study, the green stalk has been a witness to human life, teaching patience, care, and reflection. And now, as the world drifts into sleep beneath starlit skies, it sways gently, carrying the wisdom of millennia, a timeless lullaby of calm, healing, and quiet endurance across the tapestry of human history. And so, as the centuries stretched endlessly behind and the night settled softly around the world, the quiet green plant, having traveled through millennia, stood as a patient witness to humanity's story. From the river valleys of ancient China and India, across the deserts and mountains of Persia and Central Asia, through the gardens and monasteries of medieval Europe, and onward to the shores and settlements of the New World, it had accompanied countless generations. Its presence was constant, gentle, and enduring, a silent companion in fields, homes, laboratories, and gardens. It had soothed the weary hands of farmers and travelers, eased the minds of scholars and poets, and comforted the sick, the restless, and the anxious. Its fibers had supported ships that crossed oceans, ropes that anchored homes, and textiles that clothed the living. Its seeds had nourished bodies across continents, pressed into oils, ground into meals, or carried quietly on journeys. Its leaves and resins had calmed minds, healed bodies, and inspired reflection, creativity, and imagination. And through all of this, it had done so without urgency, without boast, moving always at the gentle pace of the earth, the wind, and the passing seasons. Across civilizations and cultures, the plant had been honored and observed, sometimes hidden and suppressed, sometimes celebrated and revered. Yet in every era, in every place, it remained patient and generous, offering its gifts to those who treated it with care and respect. It taught humanity the quiet virtues of patience, resilience, and continuity. It reminded all who encountered it that some of the most profound gifts of life arrive softly, unannounced, and endure not through spectacle, but through consistent, gentle presence. In modern times, as knowledge deepened and understanding spread, the plant's calm influence was recognized anew. Researchers, physicians, patients, and everyday people discovered again the subtle power that had been known for thousands of years. Its healing properties, its calming essence, its gentle inspiration, all were rediscovered, now documented in laboratories, hospitals, and homes around the world. Yet the plant itself had not changed. It remained the same patient, enduring companion that it had always been, its rhythm steady and its gifts constant. As the moon rose high above fields, gardens, and cities, the green stalks swayed gently in the breeze. Their leaves whispered softly, carrying the memory of ancient valleys, distant deserts, bustling marketplaces, quiet monasteries, and modern laboratories. Families, travelers, artists, patients, and scholars rested beneath their calm presence, connected invisibly through the centuries by the enduring patience of this unassuming companion. Its journey had been long, its lessons subtle, and its influence profound, reminding all who paused to notice that calm, healing, and quiet reflection are treasures that transcend time. And now, as you rest and drift into the gentle rhythm of sleep, imagine the plant's long journey, the soft rustle of leaves and ancient winds, the careful hands of those who tended it, the quiet smoke of ritual fires, the gentle pressing of seeds into oils and meals, the slow weaving of fibers into rope and cloth, the calming presence in bedrooms, studies, and apothecaries across the globe. Each motion, each whisper, each patient offering is a lullaby of history, a story carried softly across millennia. Let your mind follow its path, from the first tender sprouts in fertile valleys to its sway in modern gardens, from the hands of farmers and healers to the minds of scholars and dreamers, all connected by the enduring thread of patience and calm. Feel the quiet rhythm of centuries in each gentle sway, the soft wisdom carried by every leaf, and the steady constancy that has guided humanity for thousands of years. And as the night deepens and sleep enfolds you, remember the quiet green plant, a companion, a healer, a witness to history, patiently teaching that calm, care, and subtlety are among the oldest and most enduring gifts the world can offer. Drift now into dreams, carried gently by the soft whispers of its leaves, the soothing memory of its presence, and the patient rhythm of its timeless journey. Sleep now, under the watchful calm of the green stalk that has traveled millennia, and rest knowing that through every age, every land, every heart it has touched, the quiet companion continues to endure, always patient, always generous, always swaying gently in the breeze of time. Once, in the distant valleys of ancient China and India, there grew a quiet green plant. Its leaves swayed gently in the morning mist, and its stalk stood tall under the sun. Generations of people learned to care for it patiently, planting seeds in fertile soil, tending to its growth with gentle hands and harvesting its fibers, seeds, and leaves for nourishment, cloth, and calm. Its flowers, tender and fragrant, were sometimes burned to soothe weary minds, while its seeds were pressed into oils to sustain the body through long days. In the gentle rhythm of daily life, the plant offered itself as a calm companion, teaching patience and subtle care without words, without demand, simply by being. The plant traveled quietly with traders and travelers across Central Asia, through Persia and the Middle East. It moved with caravans across deserts and mountains, bringing calm and sustenance to nomads, healers, and scholars. In bustling markets, in quiet gardens, in candle-lit studies, it was present in small, unassuming ways. Fibers woven into rope and textiles, seeds pressed into oil, leaves prepared for gentle remedies. Physicians and healers observed its effects, noting how it eased aches, calmed restless minds, and aided in sleep. Through centuries of movement and cultivation, the green plant taught humanity that the most enduring gifts are those offered patiently and quietly. Across the Mediterranean, Greece and Rome embraced its practical and subtle gifts. Sailors used hemp fibers for sails and ropes, while philosophers observed its calming influence on thought and reflection. Physicians documented its benefits, and ordinary people relied on it to soothe daily discomforts. Even amid the grandeur of temples, the bustle of marketplaces, and the rise and fall of empires, the plant endured as a gentle companion. It moved softly through lives, supporting travelers, scholars, families, and artisans, leaving a legacy of patience, calm, and continuity. Through medieval Europe, the plant entered abbeys, villages, and workshops. Monks cultivated hemp in gardens, wove fibers into clothing and ropes, pressed seeds into oils, and prepared leaves for tinctures that eased fevers and aches. Farmers and weavers in villages relied on its utility, while apothecaries preserved knowledge of its healing properties. Across kingdoms, through trade and exploration, it traveled quietly yet indispensably, teaching that subtlety, endurance, and calm are virtues that persist through time. The plant swayed gently in fields and gardens, a patient witness to labor, celebration, and reflection. When the plant reached the colonial Americas, it was carried on wooden ships across oceans, stored in sacks with other necessities, and tended carefully by sailors. Colonists planted hemp and cannabis in fertile valleys, learned to harvest its fibers, press seeds into oils, and prepare leaves for remedies. Families, travelers, and healers relied upon it quietly, finding calm in its gentle presence amid long journeys and harsh conditions. Markets, workshops, and homes incorporated it into everyday life, connecting continents, cultures, and generations through its enduring gifts. The 19th century brought Victorian apothecaries, early pharmacology, and literary experimentation. In lamplit corners, pharmacists documented its effects with meticulous care, while artists, poets, and writers explored the gentle inspiration it offered. Patients found relief from pain, fevers, and sleeplessness. Farmers tended fields as before, harvesting fibers, seeds, and leaves with patience. The plant's subtle influence continued to thread through lives, connecting practical use with art, study, and healing. It was a quiet companion through the rapid changes of the industrial age. The early 20th century brought prohibition, shifting social perceptions, and underground use. Despite regulations and scrutiny, the plant endured quietly in hidden gardens, apothecaries, and homes. Its leaves soothed restless minds, its seeds nourished families, and its fibers continued to serve practical purposes. Artists, musicians, and writers found in it gentle inspiration. Communities preserved traditional knowledge, quietly ensuring that the patient companion continued its work of calm, reflection, and subtle healing across generations. Mid-20th century counterculture rediscovered the plant, blending traditional knowledge with curiosity and creativity. Artists, musicians, and thinkers embraced its gentle presence, using it for inspiration, calm, and contemplation. Researchers studied its effects, documenting relief for pain, anxiety, and sleep disturbances. Cultivation continued in hidden gardens, small fields, and communities, ensuring that centuries of wisdom persisted quietly alongside new knowledge. The plant's patient rhythm linked ancient practices with modern science, demonstrating its timeless value. By the late 20th century, medical rediscovery and early legalization movements began to take hold. Laboratories examined cannabinoids, scientists documented therapeutic effects, and advocates highlighted its millennia-long history of safe use. It became a symbol of continuity, connecting past and present through calm, healing, and patient endurance. Across countries and communities, the plant remained a subtle companion, threading together generations, cultures, and continents in quiet, enduring ways. In the 21st century, modern medical research and global appreciation deepened understanding. Patients found relief from chronic pain, anxiety, and neurological conditions. Physicians incorporated its calming influence into care. Researchers discovered new therapeutic potential, and communities cultivated it with respect and attention. Its fibers, seeds, and leaves continued to support life in practical and gentle ways. Across gardens, homes, laboratories, and hospitals, the plant reminded humanity of its timeless lessons. That calm, patience, and quiet care are enduring treasures, and that the most profound gifts arrive softly, steadily, and without demand. And now, as night settles softly over fields, cities, and homes, imagine the plant swaying gently beneath the moon and stars. Its leaves whisper across time, carrying the memory of ancient valleys, distant deserts, bustling markets, medieval gardens, colonial settlements, modern laboratories, and quiet bedrooms. Families, scholars, travelers, artists, and patients rest beneath its calm presence, connected invisibly through centuries of patient endurance. From the first tender sprouts to the modern green fields, it has been a healer, a companion, and a witness. Its rhythm is steady, its gifts constant, and its lessons timeless. Sleep now, carried by the gentle sway of leaves, the subtle scent of earth and flowers, and the patient journey of a plant that has traveled millennia. Through every age, every land, every heart, it has offered calm, reflection, healing, and enduring companionship. And as you drift deeper into sleep, remember the quiet green plant, patient, generous, and timeless, swaying gently in the winds of history, a lullaby for all who pause to rest beneath its calming presence. Imagine the early dawn in the valleys of ancient China, where mist clings softly to green leaves and the sun rises in gentle streams of gold. Farmers step quietly into fields, their feet brushing the damp soil, fingers running over the delicate stalks of the green plant. Each seed planted is a promise, each leaf nurtured a gesture of care. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of earth and morning dew. Women and children move slowly along the paths, carrying small baskets to collect seeds for oil, leaves for teas, and stalks for weaving. In these moments, life is measured, deliberate, and calm, and the plant mirrors this rhythm, offering itself gently, without demand, only presence. As the sun rises higher, merchants travel across rivers and mountains, carrying bundles of hemp and seeds to neighboring villages. The fibers are woven into ropes that will secure boats, textiles that will clothe families, and mats that will warm homes in winter. Travelers pause to rest, sipping teas made from leaves that ease the fatigue of long journeys. Each step, each gesture, and each quiet moment is accompanied by the patient presence of the plant, linking labor, sustenance, and calm reflection. Even the smallest rustle of leaves in the wind reminds those nearby of continuity, of the gentle passage of time and the subtle endurance of the earth itself. In distant Persia, scholars sit under shaded courtyards, quills in hand, observing the plant's effects on mind and body. They note the way leaves soothe agitation, how oils calm aching muscles, and how fibers support daily life. Gardens are tended with care, the patterns of planting meticulous, the harvest deliberate. Through centuries of observation, the plant's subtle influence becomes intertwined with culture, medicine, and ritual. Its sway in the breeze mirrors the scholar's own measured thoughts, linking human endeavor to the patient wisdom of nature. In medieval Europe, the abbeys rise from stone and moss, cool and quiet. Monks kneel in gardens, their hands brushing the green stalks with reverence. They harvest leaves for tinctures that calm fevers and aches, press seeds into oil for meals, and weave fibers into cloth and rope. The quiet rhythm of life, prayers, meals, study, and work, is accompanied always by the soft presence of the plant. In village homes, children play beneath its swaying stalks. Women grind seeds for nutrition, and men prepare fibers for everyday use. Every movement, every gesture is linked to the patient. Steady companion that has traveled across time to meet them here. Across the oceans to the Americas, settlers plant hemp in fertile fields, tending stalks row by row, their hands calloused yet gentle. The plant offers sustenance, utility, and calm in an unfamiliar land. Families gather seeds for meals, press oils, and prepare leaves for remedies that ease the discomfort of hard labor and long journeys. Hidden in quiet gardens, in small workshops, and within apothecaries, its influence endures. It supports life, calms the mind, and teaches patience through its consistent presence. A gentle companion amidst the struggles and triumphs of new settlements. In Victorian apothecaries, shelves lined with glass jars and tinctures glow softly under gas lamps. The plant's leaves and resins are measured, mixed, and prepared with meticulous care. Physicians observe its effects on patients suffering from aches, migraines, or sleeplessness. In quiet rooms, artists, poets, and writers experiment with its subtle influence, finding calm and gentle inspiration. Its rhythm is slow and deliberate, guiding without force, soothing without demand. Across countryside estates and workshops, its fibers, seeds, and leaves continue to support life, linking utility and art, medicine and culture. Through the upheavals of the early 20th century, prohibition casts shadows over the plant's use, yet even in hidden gardens, quiet rooms, and secret gatherings it persists. Artists, musicians, and writers continue to explore its gentle influence on thought and creativity. Families and healers preserve traditions, preparing teas, tinctures, and oils with careful hands. Across cities, towns, and rural landscapes, the plant endures as a quiet witness to human life, offering calm, subtle relief, and patient companionship. Its lessons are not loud, but they are steady and enduring, threading through generations like a soft lullaby. In the counterculture of the mid-20th century, the plant finds new recognition. Music halls, art studios, and college campuses witness its gentle sway, its calming influence, and its ability to inspire reflection. Travelers bring knowledge from distant lands, connecting centuries of tradition with modern curiosity. Scientists begin to study its chemical properties, observing the interaction of cannabinoids with the human body. Patients find subtle relief, artists find inspiration, and the plant's presence quietly connects cultures, generations, and continents, reaffirming its timeless rhythm. By the late 20th century, medical rediscovery and early legalization highlight its enduring value. Fields are cultivated under sun and rain, oils pressed from seeds, leaves used in therapies, fibers woven into textiles. Researchers study its calming influence, patients experience gentle relief, and communities share in the quiet wisdom of centuries past. Its presence threads together past and present, ancient valleys and modern cities, traditional gardens and laboratories, teaching humanity that calm, patience, and subtle care endure even amidst rapid change. In the 21st century, its journey continues. Laboratories and hospitals confirm its therapeutic properties. Communities cultivate it carefully, and families use it for calm and reflection. From chronic pain to anxiety, insomnia to inspiration, It continues to serve as a patient companion. Its fibers, seeds, and leaves remain practical and healing. Across the globe, the plant reminds humanity that the most profound gifts arrive softly, persist steadily, and endure across generations. Its rhythm is patient, its presence steady, and its lessons timeless. And now, as the night settles over fields, forests, towns, and cities, the plant sways gently beneath the moonlight. Its leaves whisper across time, carrying the memory of ancient valleys, distant deserts, bustling markets, medieval gardens, colonial settlements, Victorian apothecaries, hidden 20th century gardens, and modern laboratories. Its calm presence threads through every hand that touched it, every mind that rested under its sway, and every heart that felt the gentle comfort it offered. Families, travelers, scholars, artists, and patients drift into sleep beneath its watchful, patient leaves, connected by millennia of quiet endurance, and so, sleep now, carried by the gentle rhythm of the plant that has traveled millennia. Its soft sway, subtle aroma, and patient wisdom are a lullaby for all who rest beneath its calm presence. Through every age, every land, every heart, it has been a healer, a companion, and a witness. Its gifts endure, offering calm, reflection, healing, and patient companionship across the tapestry of human history. Drift now gently as the quiet green plant whispers its timeless story, and rest under the soft, swaying lullaby of its leaves. In the soft morning light of ancient valleys, farmers moved slowly through fields dotted with the quiet green plant. Their hands brushed the dew-laden leaves, each stalk trembling gently under the weight of early sunlight. Children wandered along the paths, giggling softly, gathering fallen seeds and learning almost without noticing the rhythm of patient labor. The air smelled faintly of earth and water, carrying whispers of the river that nourished the soil. In homes nearby, women ground seeds into oil and meals, their movements measured and deliberate, while elders brewed leaves into gentle teas that eased the aches of old age. The plant, calm and patient, mirrored the rhythm of life, teaching through quiet presence rather than speech. Travelers and traders passed through the same valleys, carrying woven sacks of fibers and seeds across mountains and deserts. Each journey was slow and deliberate, punctuated by rest beneath shady trees and beside clear streams. They pressed seeds into oils that nourished weary bodies, and their hands brushed the soft green leaves that offered calm to tired minds. At night, the gentle rustling of stalks in the wind created a lullaby, a soft and patient reminder that life moves in quiet, enduring cycles, and that healing and comfort often arrive slowly, unnoticed but ever present. In the bustling markets of Persia, merchants laid out bundles of hemp and cannabis alongside spices, textiles, and pottery. The fibers were strong and supple, pressed into ropes and woven into cloth, while seeds were ground into nourishing meals. Scholars observed quietly in nearby courtyards, noting how the plant calmed tension and eased discomfort. Its presence threaded through every corner of life, in homes, in gardens, in streets, in rituals. Families carried its knowledge forward, teaching each generation to approach the plant with respect, patience, and careful observation. Even in noise and movement, its calm endurance remained a gentle constant. Medieval European abbeys echoed with the soft swish of green leaves under careful hands. Monks tended gardens in silence, harvesting leaves for tinctures, pressing seeds into oils for food, and weaving fibers into ropes and fabrics. Village children played beneath swaying stalks, unaware of the centuries of history that had traveled to this place. Women ground seeds for daily meals, and men prepared fibers for everyday tools. The plant's influence was quiet yet profound, linking generations, sustaining labor, and offering calm in the midst of a world often marked by uncertainty. Every movement, every task, every breath was subtly accompanied by the patient rhythm of the green stalks. Across the Atlantic, colonial settlers worked in fields under the soft light of dawn. They planted hemp row by row, pressing seeds from meals and oils, weaving fibers into sails, ropes, and clothing. The plant offered calm during long days of labor and quiet nights after heavy storms or long voyages. In homes and small apothecaries, leaves were brewed into teas, tinctures prepared to soothe pain, anxiety, or sleeplessness. In every village, every riverbank, every hearth, the plant endured, connecting continents, cultures, and generations through subtle, patient presence. It was not loud or demanding. It simply was, and through that quiet presence, it taught humans the value of patience, care, and calm continuity. Victorian apothecaries were quiet havens of study. Gas lamps flickered over shelves lined with jars of leaves, tinctures, and resins. Pharmacists measured and mixed, recording every observation carefully. Artists, writers, and poets in nearby studios experimented with the plant's influence on thought and creativity, finding that its gentle sway offered calm reflection and subtle inspiration. Farmers in the countryside tended fields as before, harvesting fibers, seeds, and leaves with patient hands. The rhythm of life, the interplay of practical use and gentle inspiration, was carried forward by the plant's quiet presence, linking labor, art, medicine, and culture through centuries of enduring companionship. Through the early 20th century, prohibition cast long shadows, yet the plant persisted in hidden gardens, private homes, and quiet workshops. Artists and musicians continued to find inspiration in its presence, while families preserved the tradition of using leaves for teas, oils for relief, and fibers for practical use. Its calm influence endured in whispers, gentle sways, and patient observation. Despite social pressures and legal restrictions, it remained a witness, a healer, a companion to those who remembered its quiet wisdom. Across cities, towns, and rural landscapes, the patient green plant offered continuity, calm, and subtle healing, threading generations together with invisible, enduring bonds. In the counterculture of the mid-20th century, college campuses, music halls, and art studios were alive with gentle curiosity. Leaves and resins were used with care to inspire reflection, calm anxious minds, and encourage creative thought. Travelers returned from distant lands bringing stories of traditional uses, of rituals, of patient cultivation and careful observation. Scientists began to study the plant, isolating compounds and observing their effects on the body. Patients found relief from pain and tension. Artists discovered new avenues of inspiration, and the plant's calm, enduring presence quietly linked ancient traditions with modern curiosity. By the late 20th century, legalization movements, medical rediscovery, and cultural recognition allowed the plant to emerge from hidden spaces into broader awareness. Fields stretched under the sun. Stalks swayed in gentle breezes. Seeds were pressed into oils and leaves prepared for medicinal and reflective purposes. Scientists documented the calming, healing effects of cannabinoids. Patients experienced subtle relief. Communities shared in centuries of accumulated knowledge. Across continents and cultures, the plant offered patient, enduring companionship, teaching that calm, patience, and subtle care are timeless and universally valuable. In the 21st century, the journey continues. Modern research confirms therapeutic properties, communities cultivate it carefully, and families use it for calm, reflection, and healing. Fibers, seeds, and leaves serve practical, nutritional, and medicinal purposes. Its gentle sway is felt in quiet homes, gardens, laboratories, and hospitals. Across generations, its rhythm is steady, its presence constant, its lessons timeless. It reminds humanity that the most profound gifts arrive softly, persist steadily, and endure through centuries of observation, care, and reflection. As night falls over cities, towns, fields, and forests, the green stalks of the plant sway beneath the moonlight. Their leaves whisper softly in the wind, carrying memories of ancient valleys, distant deserts, medieval gardens, colonial settlements, Victorian apothecaries, hidden 20th century workshops, and modern laboratories. Families, travelers, scholars, artists, and patients rest beneath their calm presence, connected by centuries of quiet endurance. From first sprouts to modern green fields, the plant has been a healer, a companion, and a witness. Its rhythm is patient, its presence steady, its gifts constant. Sleep now, carried by the gentle sway of the plant, the soft scent of earth and flowers, and the patient rhythm of its journey through time. Across every age, every land, every heart it has touched, it offers calm, reflection, healing, and enduring companionship. Let its soft whispers, patient endurance, and quiet sway guide you into dreams, a lullaby of millennia, a story of patience, continuity, and timeless calm. In the quiet highlands of ancient India, before the sun had fully risen, the dew hung thick on emerald leaves. Small streams traced silver lines through the earth, and the faint murmur of water over stones carried a gentle rhythm to the waking day. Farmers knelt beside the green stalks, their fingers tracing intricate patterns in the soil, turning seeds just planted so they might take root more easily. The wind carried faint scents of wildflowers, earth, and distant forests, mingling with the soft aroma of freshly sprouted leaves. In these early hours, the green plant seemed almost to breathe with the land itself, a patient companion whose growth mirrored the slow, deliberate pace of human care. Elder women sat on flat stones near riverbanks preparing poultices and balms. Leaves were crushed with small wooden mortars, their fragrance filling the morning air with subtle hints of mint, pine, and earth. The mixtures were applied gently to minor cuts, bruises, and fevers, while soft chants echoed from nearby homes, blending with the rustle of stalks. Children ran along the banks, their laughter carried on the wind, stepping carefully around young shoots, learning by observation how the green plant was respected, nurtured, and used. Every gesture, however small, was a lesson in patience, reverence, and attentive care. In distant mountain valleys, nomadic herders paused to rest their flocks beneath clusters of the plant, noticing how its presence seemed to calm animals as well as humans. Sheep and goats grazed lazily nearby, occasionally brushing against tall stalks, and the faint whisper of leaves in the breeze created a soft, almost musical rhythm across the slopes. Travelers shared simple meals of roasted seeds and flatbreads, while elderly guides recounted tales of distant lands where the plant had traveled generations before. Every moment was filled with quiet observation, as the plant offered sustenance, companionship, and gentle continuity without ever demanding attention. In coastal regions, fishermen worked in the early mists, hauling nets and repairing sails. Hemp fibers, carefully harvested and woven, strengthened the ropes that held their boat steady in tides and storms. Leaves were used to brew calming teas for those exhausted from nights at sea, and seeds pressed into oils offered nutrition for long journeys. Children helped prepare small bundles, learning how the plant could provide for many needs at once: food, medicine, utility, and calm. In the lull between waves and wind, the plant's presence was a quiet anchor, a reminder that life's rhythm flows slowly, patiently, and with enduring grace. In desert oases far to the west, traders set up temporary encampments, laying out bundles of fibers, pressed seeds, and dried leaves. Aromas of toasted seeds mingled with hot sand and distant spices. Travelers rested beneath the shade of date palms, grinding seeds into oils to sustain them on long crossings. Elders shared stories of caravans long gone, of green stalks swaying under distant suns, of people who had traveled for months guided by patient observation of the land. The plant, present in small bundles or growing wild at the edge of the oasis, reminded all who paused of endurance, of connection, and of the quiet patience needed to move safely through the world. In quiet village squares of medieval Europe, the first winter frost was just beginning to soften the soil. Families gathered stalks for weaving, seeds for cooking, and leaves for warming teas. The crackle of small fires and the soft clink of utensils blended with the rustle of stalks bending under the breeze. Elderly women instructed children on proper handling, teaching them that care and attention preserve the plant's gifts. The smell of toasted seeds, the warmth of oils pressed in careful hands, and the faint scent of dried leaves filled homes and workshops, providing subtle comfort in the cold months. The plant's presence was intertwined with daily life, offering warmth, sustenance, and continuity through the harshness of winter. Across distant islands, explorers brought knowledge of the plant to coastal settlements. Seeds were sown along terraces and hillsides, stalks measured for fiber production, and leaves carefully dried for future use. Communities quickly learned to respect the plant's versatility. It nourished bodies, steadied hands, and calmed restless minds. Early morning sunlight illuminated the dewdrops clinging to leaves, casting a soft glow across fields and small homes. Children watched quietly, learning the rhythms of cultivation and harvest, understanding that the most profound lessons of life are often gentle, patient, and observed rather than spoken aloud. In the quiet study of a healer in a medieval town, parchment and ink documented careful observations of leaves, seeds, and oils. Remedies were prepared for aches, fevers, and sleeplessness, each measured and applied with meticulous care. Patients arrived with ailments of both body and spirit, finding calm in the gentle ritual of preparation and administration. The healer moved slowly, deliberately, the green stalks resting nearby, swaying faintly in a soft breeze from open windows. Every interaction, every treatment, was intertwined with the plant's patient rhythm, showing that its value lay not in urgency, spectacle, or loud display, but in the subtle endurance of steady care across time. As twilight fell across hills and valleys, the green stalks reflected the soft gold and violet light of the setting sun. Farmers rested, children slept, elders reflected on the passing day, and the plant remained patient, unchanging in its generosity. Its rhythm was steady, its influence subtle, its gifts enduring. It had traveled across centuries, continents, and cultures, offering calm, sustenance, healing, and reflection to all who approached with gentle hands and attentive hearts. And, in this moment as the day gave way to night, the world itself seemed to pause, swaying slowly with the soft whispers of leaves, carried by the wind and the quiet, timeless presence of the patient green companion.